Have you ever asked yourself, what am I here for? I'm sure every single one of us has asked that question at some point or time in their lives. Being a part of the human race usually means, racing towards the meaning in life. What we toil towards treasuring in this life usually marks out for us our race. As we begin to run life's race, we begin to notice that we're wired a certain way. Likes, dislikes, passions and fears, things we're great at, things we're not so great at. The way that we're wired usually points out towards the way that the race has been marked out for us. To take a note of these factors is to take a note of how we're to run this race, kind of like race markers, marking out the race that we're supposed to run. It's one thing to run this race, or even train hard to run this race. The question I have is, do we run with a prize in mind? When we know our patterns of running, we can see how we can make adjustments to run this race or this life better. But then the question becomes, define better. The fact of the matter is that for all of us, this life is going to end at some point. So many would say that all this life has to offer is our measure of success. These define our race, whether career, monetary status, fame and credibility with others, they can all be our medal that we hope to attain at the end of the race. The thing about these medals, like anything in this world, is that they are temporary. The thing about this race is that it lasts a lot longer than we do. When we run a race that's eternal, with preparation that's only temporary, it's like a marathon runner running with only a sprinter's training. But this life is a marathon, and it's always been designed that way. To run in such a manner would quickly bring exhaustion, and this is what runners call hitting the wall. There are people that don't know it's a marathon because they've never met the master race designer, or they've never looked at the map of the race. So they don't know it's a marathon. But there are some that do know it's a marathon, but they run it like a short distance or middle distance runner. They know the master race designer and they've seen the map, but they get threatened because they run alongside short distance runners who look sleek and fast, and they get threatened by their pace, and thus the wall. You see, the race has already been tried and tested by the one who marked the race out for us in the first place, and his name is Jesus Christ. The pace would seem different to what the world would measure as success. 33 years of life, only 3 of those years used in ministry to others. If this was a numbers game and it was about how many people were following you, he only had 12 followers. One of them betrayed him, and his most popular associate ended up disassociating himself with him. 12 followers. Most of you on Twitter have more. If this was a popularity race, Jesus lost that one too, outvoted by a landslide, only to be executed because he had mere claims that he was the king of the Jews. But his race was perfect because he ran with eternity in his heart, your eternity. Could you imagine the stress on Jesus the night before his Roman execution on the cross? And it was foreknown. He was sweating blood, the Bible says. He even said to the Father, if it is your will, remove the suffering from me. He'd hit the wall. But you know what got him inspired to break through the wall? It was you. He saw that the race that was marked out before him was to run for others. It was the freedom of others that kept him inspired to run and finish the race strong, even though the course was brutal. He looked down the corridors of history and saw you there, and you inspired him to run the race. It was us, it was you and I that gave him his second wind. So now we run this eternal race. Different styles of running, different coaches, different teams, but all with an eternity in mind. And having the race marked out for us by the one, the author and the finisher of our faith race, who for the joy, that's you, set before him, endured the cross. We must run the race like he did. He gave up his life, his gifts, everything he had to run the race for others. The second wind comes when we learn from God and run the race the way Jesus ran it, inspired that others may have life to run their race, to win their prize. And he